What is up? Oh man, do I pick the right games to do a post game? It's so much more fun after a win like that. Clearly, there's some room for improvement, but holy hell, that was another fun one. Yeah, so Red Wings go over like we're talking pro wrestling. Red Wings beat the Vancouver Canucks 3-1. This was clearly the Thomas Gray show. This was a beaut. This was everything that I think we saw at the end of last season for Greiss as well. Couldn't be happier with with how this turned out for Greiss. It's just like you've got to look at this, and we've immediately got to start trying to figure out what is going wrong here with two straight games, especially in the third period, of just being completely dominated from an attempts perspective. But before we get into all that, of course, reminder here, this is Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas about your Detroit Red Wings finally have a home. Oh, right, and this is it's going to be an attachment to episode 175 that'll be out on Monday. Matt's going to be a little busy. Matt, a little busy tomorrow. The old birthday. Any hoozles. To have some fun tonight, though. Let's throw the first little bit here. If you guys want to throw in the comments, I guess after these first two games, who are you most excited about? I think Greiss could definitely be on that list. Bert should be on that list. There's a couple of guys. Do you want to be excited about the fact that Giovanni Smith is just ready to step up at any time? Rasmussen seems ready to go as well. Do you love that Moritz Seider is getting a lot of production out there? We're seeing him pop up on the stat sheet. How about that? But you guys let me know what you're thinking in that regard, and we'll pop in there every now and then to talk about it a little bit there. But yeah, if we jump into this conversation here, I pulled up quite a few different spots that I wanted to make sure I touched on today. So we'll go over a couple of things that I have planned, but of course, at any time, throw in the comments what you're thinking for who you're most impressed with over these first two games as we get through. I'm going to say we get through the first week, right? So I'm talking Monday to Sunday. I know we're only two games in, and we started the season on Thursday, and it's getting to Saturday night, but I'm calling it the first week. We're going to walk away with 75% of the points we could have gotten. We have a potential 4 points. We walk away with 3. So that's a winning record. I gotta say, I'm taking some liberties here, but that's a winning record for this team. I'll tell you who's also winning today. Tristan, before we even started the show, was calling shots for goals. Tristan, I hope you join us at some point, but he messaged this a while ago. Calling Fabry and Zadina scoring today. He's super pumped for Zadina. Like I said, I'm asking for you guys to let me know who you're excited about after these first two games. Maybe Zadina and that slapper. That could definitely be on that list. So let me know what you're thinking there. But yeah, if we start rolling through this, if you guys want to take, just want to take a look at the Vancouver game, there's only so much we can really say about Greiss, right? Because we're all just floored with it. I'm looking right now at Evolving Hockey, and maybe I'll let you guys take a peek at this too. But what I'm looking at with Evolving Hockey is just everything you can pull from today's game is just like those quick looks. So there's more to come. There's more we can dissect. But for right now, if you're taking a look at Greiss, this 2.83 goals saved above expected, which I think I can highlight right here for you guys. This is just blowing my mind. Like it's one thing to come away with, heck of a save percentage, but this is something too, where Greiss is really just, above and beyond what you want to see from your goaltender. Coming almost the exact opposite, in the negative for Nedeljkovic. And, we'll get into game one and Marc Staal calling off Nedeljkovic and goals going in behind him. We can have that conversation too. But it's still, we're talking the advanced analytics. We're talking about how much the shots on net say should be going in and how many they're giving up. And Grice is beating it in the positive 2.83. And of course, like I said, Nedeljkovic went in the other direction. So I'm not going to be the guys that's going to sit here and take a dump on Nedeljkovic, because I thought that first game, first period, I tweeted out he was our first star. And like I said, I think there were a lot of miscommunications. Your team's tired. You lose Dylan Larkin. Things weren't going to go as great as they possibly could. So I'm giving a pretty lengthy leash here on Nedeljkovic in that first game. Still, stat's a stat. That's where we're sitting right now. Just to kind of gush a little bit more on Grice is where I'm coming from. It's just that he goes in the complete opposite direction on that stat, and it's fun to start with that one. So good on Grice. Don't want to rag on Nedeljkovic in that first game. Just saying, for comparison's sake, if you guys need context of how that statistic works, you've got Nedeljkovic going deep in the negative, Grice super positive. All right, so you guys jump it in the comments. Finally, here we go. Seider has looked beyond his years 100%. I love it. Seider would be on my list. What are we looking at right now? 3 points so far for Seider? What, this kid, like, it's not even about the points. I mean, think about the minutes too, that he's already become the guy that you need to have on the ice. And can we also talk about that? I mean, Hronek, it's one thing that he wanted to beat the shit out of everybody tonight on Vancouver, especially Garland. But how about Seider taking some of the load off of Hronek and possibly giving an opportunity for him to focus on development and not just be completely stretched and pulled as what's the old Lord of the Rings turn of phrase there? He's like not enough butter scraped over too much bread, and that could ruin a guy, especially at Hronek's age. So this is good. And maybe Seider, maybe he doesn't need as many minutes, but I mean, there's another positive to him taking all those minutes. So I absolutely love Fethar. You're jumping in with Seider. Tristan coming in with the thing. I was going to pat myself on the back because I felt like an asshole a couple of episodes ago, and I'll explain. Tristan, our power play looks lethal, especially when we get Larks and Verana. We're set. That is a huge point. I don't know how many times I've been watching this team over the last 2 games, and either I've looked over at my brother, I've looked over at my wife, spoke with my dad today, and it's just like, oh, fuck. Can you imagine? We get Larkin and Verana back. This is going to be something that is legit, right? Like, I mean, you don't want to go too deep into hyperbole. You don't want to turn yourself into, you don't want to throw yourself under the bus, look like an asshole. But I mean, it doesn't look terrible, and we're missing arguably 2 of our best forwards, right? So Tristan, amazing point. I'm patting myself on the back, because that was one of my, I probably overdid it. I think what I wanted to say, and I'm not going to take it back, but I think what I wanted to say was just that we were going to be in the top half of the league with the power play. And I went top 5%, or I'm sorry, top 5. And I just certainly felt like an asshole in retrospect. But I mean, it's not to say we're not on our way right now. So I get to just sit there and kind of, I'm a little happy. I'm going to pray that it keeps going in the right direction. I'm not going to pull back, because that would be awful if I took away that bet and then it turned out to be that way. I don't think it will. I mean, I'm excited. All right. Soap dish. Nobody's dropped the gloves yet. Well, I mean, we did see Larkin throw him down on the ice in that first game. Am I right? And I, you know what? We also had we did have a scuffle in the first game, because I got it on video. So I don't think we've seen like the fisticuffs going up, and we're going like old timey pro wrestling kind of thing, 2 guys with handlebar mustaches yet. But I mean, the scrappiness is there. I think what we're upset about with that has got to be the refs, right? So discussing that with one of my buddies, friend of the show, Jesse. You guys can find him on Twitter. He's JC Leist 23 on Twitter. He was making that point as well, where it's just like, why not just let these guys go at it? And then I had the thought, like, the longer they wait to let these guys just do a legit, like, this is the fight that's going to end this bullshit, the more they let that stuff go, the more there's going to be sticks flying, like we saw, like Hronek throwing him down. There's Fabry was the one who took a slash there that thankfully didn't get call on Garland at one point. That kind of stuff's just going to keep happening until the refs let these guys just, break some jaws. And I think I've been pretty vocal at different points since this show's come on that, I'm one that if fighting goes away, I think that's better for every hockey player's brain. But until this game stops pretending that there is a secondary way to infuse justice into the game, which would be letting these guys fight, like they have that. It's always in the back of everyone's mind, and it's certainly something that I think the game itself and the referees toy with. But it's weird because they act like it's fine. They act like this is part of the game. And then tonight, Detroit trying to get some fights going, and the refs just kept getting in the way. So I'm going to say that we wanted to see fists flying, and that I would put the officials as the main blame on that one. It's just, it can get worse. And once, if you're going to define that as part of the game, that's one of the rules, and you don't let it happen, it's going to build up frustration. And I don't know if it's just going to be more of the chippy stuff, or eventually it's just going to get out of hand and you see like a real injury that's going to keep a guy out for an entire season because these guys are just trying to throw each other's bodies around and they're not allowed to do the thing that you're supposed to, in hockey, supposed to be allowed to do, which is fighting. So great point there, Soap Dish. Man, you guys have giant comments here, so I hate for there to be any silence during this, but this might take a while. Tristan, Grice, and Ned, it's going to be a sweet tandem. That's another one I can pat myself on the back for. I really thought coming into this that we were going to see more Grice from the second half, and it's one game. So I'm just going to sit here and try and take the victory now before it gets out of hand and goes the other direction. So yeah, good on me, right? All right. Callan says DeKeyser and Hronek is not a sweet tandem. DeKeyser looked pretty great in the preseason. I'm yet to take a deep dive into DeKeyser so far, but I could take a look at his expected goals for tonight, and it's not great, and it wasn't great. It hasn't been great in the entire season so far. So I haven't taken the time to really study DeKeyser, but whatever he was doing in the preseason certainly hasn't transitioned. All right, let's pull up some of these long comments here. Fethter. To be fair, Ned did have to play Tampa rather than Vancouver. Yeah, so going back to the I really let this get out of hand. How many comments I got in here? Sorry, guys. I guess I made the point too. Like I do want to make sure, Nedeljkovic's numbers are going to reflect, I think, a bad game defensively and not necessarily on Nedeljkovic, but very similar game played from an analytical perspective for chances and attempts thrown at the net, and Grice is just gonna come out all glowy and beautiful. So I think it's tough because I'm certainly talking out of both sides of my mouth when it comes to that statistic. I'm saying that when it's negative, we blame it on the defense, and when it's positive, we pat the goalie on the back. But I think it's pretty clear, like when you watch that game, you saw Nedeljkovic play great in that first period. And as things started to break down, and I'm sorry, Fethter, as you pointed out, it's Tampa Bay. So the talent level at some point is going to get the best of you. You are playing a team that can certainly roll 4 lines that are going to be better than your 4 lines. And the best you could do is hope for what Bertuzzi did. And I think he shot, or I think as a team too, we shot like 25%. So yeah, if you're shooting 25%, it's going to look good. Right. But then, like I said, the chances, the attempts were just way out of hand, and Tampa really, they took it to us, and not to forget the fact that the refs, well, they fucked us tonight and not letting us drop the gloves. We got fucked in that first game in so many different ways. And I'm sure there's a point where we all need to talk about that as well. And maybe that's that time, right? But yeah, just keep rolling down here. I just got to keep looking at these comments. Tristan, Vancouver didn't look too special. Was happy to see Blash getting irate after Zadina's head check. He's more involved than people think. He stands up for these guys. Tristan, thank you so much for saying that, because I need other people to say it. I really do think it's a losing battle to get behind Blashill or to try to defend him, because it is just going to look bad, because this team talent wise has been, so bottom of the barrel for so long. And how do you argue, that win percentage over the last couple of years? But yeah, I really do think this guy's he's not how he's painted, right? He's painted as a doofus. And I think, one of the major strikes against him is the line shuffling. But I also think he's trying to make things work on a team that he knows is struggling. And it's this game where he's trying to keep his job. He's trying to earn the next job, because I think even as much as I will defend him, we know he's gone eventually. Like, he's not the guy that's winning this cup for this team. So he's got to start, game planning for that next step. And he's got to be able to show evidence that he was trying anything he could to find chemistry, to find wins. And I think that might be something he could come back to and say, look, we all knew where the talent was for this team. And I had to find some way to make it work. So I think there's that defense with it as well. I also am one of the guys that says coaches, the margin of a great coach and a bad coach, maybe the absolute best coach and the absolute worst coach, there is a sizable margin. But for most coaches, I think if there was some way we could measure it, it's probably razor thin. And a lot of it's going to depend on what what is the goals against look like? How do the goaltenders perform at the end of the season is sometimes how that works out. But I'll just say, I think he gets a bad rap when the timing isn't right for it. I think that we certainly have to wait. Like, you couldn't properly say the guy is awful until he's got a Stanley Cup caliber team and can't get the job done. Because I will say this point till the show runs its last episode. People were talking about John Cooper coming to Detroit before he won 2 straight cups because he hadn't done it with Tampa yet. And now it's like, well, yeah, he's just set for life down there. So he never, and it's because the 2 cups are there. So I'm just saying, like, at some point, the narrative could completely flip, and it's sort of just timing on all that kind of stuff. I'm not sitting here telling you Jeff Blashill is a Stanley Cup winning coach. I'm telling you that probably a majority of the coaches don't necessarily ever earn that, but they win the cups nonetheless. Is that bad? All right. This is where I think maybe the eyes drop on the on this episode. All right, guys, there's a lot of comments here. I'm going to scroll down to a little bit closer to where I was talking here. We got an argument going in the comments, so I'm glad that's going on. Maybe I can jump into a couple of these points that I was hoping to bring up today, because one of the guys that, as far as I can tell, I'm going to take a quick peek through the comments here. All right, cool. I get to do it. So nobody else brought this boy up. I'm going to do it. You guys are going to wait here for a second while I pull up our statistics so far through 2 games on Evolving Hockey. It's the guy that I would say I'm most surprised to see. He's playing as well based on the advanced analytics as he is. And maybe some of you can guess already. It's Gustav Lindstrom. Through 2 games, we're looking at a guy who's second on the team right now in expected goals for percentage. Actually, you know what? I got to pull up a different one here. This is, just give me a second. This is how this goes when Matt's just doing this live and he doesn't have a brother to to actually make comments while he's pulling this stuff up, but it's just going to take a second. Matt still got the stats. He looked it up before he started talking. There it is. Natural stat trick, not evolving hockey. Has the 2 games listed here. So I was wrong when I just said a second ago he's in the top 2. No, he's number 1 on the team in expected goals for percentage. Now, I do a quick asterisk here. Just looking at evolving hockey, I switched over to natural stat trick. These guys are not calculating these things the same way. You kind of just pick the one that you think, the one you can trust a little bit more. So here we are with natural stat trick. Always got to mention that where you're getting these stats from, because they do calculate these models a little bit differently everywhere you go. So here's the thing with Gustav. Primarily not going in against your opponent's top line. But here's the thing. Even with that being said, that does mean that you could associate the bottom pair with possibly playing with the lower, the bottom 6 forwards. But when you take a look at this, and we could sort this by expected goals for per 60, but I'll tell you guys right now, he's second on the team for production, and first for all defensemen, second to an injured Dylan Larkin, who's only got a period and a half on his stats. So really, you can make the argument he's sitting nice and sweet and safe at the top of this list. And then if you pull the expected goals against per 60, my man is also first on the team. This is just something for me that I noticed when I was watching the first game. So I actually got the opportunity to watch from LCA. I was able to do whatever I wanted. Of course, you're not subject to what the camera forces you to watch. But Lindstrom does a tremendous job of correcting Marc Staal, which is hilarious because of the age gap there, but fixing his mistakes. And Lindstrom is doing a tremendous job, I think, of being in the right space at the right time. And he's also making a great choice of when to be aggressive and when not to be. The guy had time on Kucherov on the penalty. Oh, that's the other thing. I haven't even brought it up yet. My man, today, best expected goals against per 60 on the PK today. Best on the team. Gets those PK minutes. I think for a defenseman, maybe he was 4th on the team in minutes. So that's why you got to make sure you go to those per 60 side of things. And basically he was our most efficient defenseman. I think that might be the best way from an analytics perspective to measure your PK guys, because you don't want to look at expected goals for percentage. I just think that gets other things mixed in there that aren't going to matter. So you look at the expected goals against per 60, because you've got what they're allowing from a chance perspective. Is the potential for goal going up while they're on the ice? Take that per 60, so it doesn't matter how many minutes he's playing. They're all at that same level. And when you're doing that through the PK, I mean, you could get guys when they're having a really bad game. I mean, that expected goals against per 60 could hit 20. But of course, you're shorthanded, so that's the case. But what we saw Gustav at with leading the team was at a nice squeaky clean 5. And again, it's the penalty kill, so you're going to see some juicy chances out there. But he was certainly limiting things, no matter who he was playing with. So, I mean, my man is somebody that I said in the offseason I needed to make sure we kept Troy Stecher after that expansion draft. And I think I just sort of mentioned, I'd keep Gustav instead of Cholowski. But Gustav is, despite him being a third pair defenseman, he's playing well on the penalty kill. Like we see here, when he's got those opportunities, he's stifling chances and also ensuring that, he's not ruining opportunities for the offense to put something on the net. And that's kind of how you could look at this expected goals for per 60 number as well. That number could certainly be lower, and he'd still be doing pretty good from an expected goals for percentage, but he's doing both very well. And I think that's something as you guys go through these games and you're looking for somebody who you want to track. I think Gustav should be number 1 on the list right now, because everybody's going to have a view of Seider or Raymond. Valley Sports is going to take care of that. So you keep your eye on Lindstrom so you can see this guy going down, blocking shots when he needs to. He's just making that defensive side of the game look so natural and smooth. And I'm a fan of it right now. It's just something that, as me and my brother were watching that game in Tampa, we both just remarked on accident, almost back to back, like, man, good stuff. Looks really solid today. And it's, again, we're not painting him as, this is a for sure Norris guy in the future. It's just looks like a solid defenseman that, I mean, as you can tell so far, isn't isn't hurting us to the extent that minutes need to be cut. Somebody else needs to step in on the bottom pair. Beat writers for Vancouver who are trying to make a story out of Troy Stecher being scratched while he's playing Vancouver. That thing is so far like not a story. I can't believe that guy actually wrote that today. But the important thing is that Gustav has this role right now. He's in the bottom pair, and he's not just earning it. I mean, he's playing himself into a role here that this could turn into something where we want to lock up something that will certainly be an affordable contract. But if this kind of play continues, I mean, you're talking about something long term that gets built through the system, gets developed through the system, and I'm excited about it. I'll leave it at that. I have left you guys hanging again in the comments. Tristan, I raved about Lindstrom on Reddit today. He's so good. That was in all caps. Best eyes for the game on our back end, next to Seider. The guy makes breakout and stretch passes perfectly. I'm so glad you brought that up too, Tristan. The guy, that's one of the things too, getting those breakout passes, and actually his transition game has been helping us so much, and that's why those expected goals against per 60 are so low, because it's not about continuous chances. And again, when I talk about his selective aggressiveness too, that's where he's also stifling those chances, where you would see that expected goals against per 60 number go up. The expected goal opportunity would go up because he is giving up a better looking shot, but he's selectively going up to the forward, right before the big play is about to be made. And I think, again, that's something I think y'all should be paying attention to. And when he does make that aggressive play, he's getting the puck out of the zone. Thank you, Tristan, for bringing that up. That's A+. Good job, Tristan. We need a number one left D after this season. Tristan goes on. I'll scour the free agents list, trade targets, and find a list for the next video. Thank you, Tristan. If you guys aren't paying attention yet, if you just check out Simon Edvinsson. I'm not saying he's ready to go next season, but goddamn, fuck, that looks good. I don't know if we're talking about a number one pairing defenseman next year, but I absolutely think he's playing well enough that we are going to see a good chunk at Edvinsson. And if we're patient, maybe we set something up short term next year, Tristan. I'm going to be an asshole right now. That's right. I'm going to bring up NHL 22. Matt simulated the first season so he can start playing that free agent game. I think I cheated though. I think I did something that we couldn't even do right now. But I brought in Dahan to help out on the left side, and I did. Yeah, that was my first free agent signing. My forwards, it's disgusting. You guys go to @BOD Hockey. I posted it there. I know it's ridiculous. That NHL 22 it's way too easy on franchise mode. Anyways, but yeah, Tristan, let us know when you see some good targets. I think we should all take a peek and see what we could do in regards to finding a new number one lefty. I'll throw this out in the comments. Did Giordano sign long term with Seattle? Because that was the one I think I cheated on too. Was I think he was available in the video game. I can't remember off the top of my head if he did sign long term. Any hoozles. Let's move on here. There's some other points we got to talk about, right? Dylan Larkin, Joseph. There's never been a more deserving cold cock, I think, in my life. Seriously, like I'm a guy who watches hockey, and again, I brought this up earlier in the episode when we were talking about the refs holding back the potential for gloves to hit the ice today for Detroit against Vancouver. I think these guys are just, rabid right now with what happened in that first game. Uh, I it's I guess where I'm lost right now is I want to start. Let's talk about how I said earlier I'd be okay if there never was another fight in the NHL for the sake of these guys' brains. But when I see what happened to Dylan Larkin, and I know the lack of policing that seems to find itself in the justice category for the Detroit Red Wings, and I could honestly say that, I'm a homer, right? But I feel like I could honestly say that for my entire fandom as a Detroit Red Wings fan. I feel like we've always been fucked, but of course that's every fan base. But Dylan Larkin has the evidence, and why he's so justified in going after Joseph is because he saw what happened last year. Just can go unpoliced, can just happen, and there's no backlash. There's no trust in player safety that Dylan could have, and now he has two pieces of evidence. And they also put out that bullshit statement of, we understand Dylan's frustrated, but you can't punch a guy in the head when he's skating away from you. I don't understand why they're called player safety, because the reason Dylan is doing that is because he knows he's got two huge pieces of evidence now that when his head and his neck is used as a toy by other NHL players, there's no punishment. So what they taught Dylan was that he needs to retaliate himself. And it's because of the lack of action by player safety. So I don't know. This feels like, this is certainly, I'm going to make a joke out of it, so forgive me here, but this is Batman creating the Joker. Like, this is player safety thinking they're doing the right thing, and because of their own actions, they've created Dylan Larkin who don't give a fuck anymore, and he's going to lay guys out. And I'll jump in here and let you guys. Here we go. Sorry, Soap Dish. I'll come right back to you. I didn't realize Tristan threw in there. Joseph is a loser. That's why I couldn't wait to read this. Always has been. Tampa just realized they aren't going to win the cup this year, so they're pissed. And then Soap Dish. I'm a huge Larkin fan. It's hard to blame him for hitting Joseph based on past experiences. You can't get kicked out of the game. That was just the turning point to me. I'll say this. I think if Larkin could do it all over again, he would not make the same decision. But for this season, I really don't, it's not like we're sniffing playoff contender here. So for this season, that happens. This could be something at least to create the silver lining here. This could be the thing where Dylan starts to define himself as the guy you can't fuck around with. And at least somebody, as Tristan put it, fucking loser. But all right, let's not go that far. Yeah, why not? All right, yeah, fuck Matthew Joseph. When you've got a guy like that guy's not going to fuck around with Dylan Larkin anymore, right? And if he does, now he knows he can't just run away because Dylan's going to smash him in the back of the head. But I guess the joking aside from that, I think there is that need maybe for Dylan at this point with the hits he's taking to start to define that. And I think it goes beyond Dylan as well, that we probably need to see, and I think we're seeing it, that develop as a part of the culture for the Red Wings. It's not that we want like a full team of Kachucks that are just fucking around with everybody. It's not about being a dick, right? It's not about being like the Sean Avery that face washes the goalie in the middle of a power play. It's just that the standing up for yourself and trying to get, a lot of the stuff that we see where the Red Wings, I guess I've even labeled it myself as being chippy, but a lot of it is it's the retaliation because they're getting sick of getting pushed around. And you can see the camaraderie with these guys. There's a fantastic picture I tweeted out earlier of Bertuzzi, Fabry, and Lucas Raymond laughing at the Vancouver bench. And I'm pretty sure that was right after the goal was disallowed and Vancouver was done celebrating. That picture says to me, like, the relationship these guys are building right now and the camaraderie, and I think with how I that bond is getting so strong, and Marc Staal mentioned it too in the post game, where he said this is one of the more fun locker rooms he's been a part of, and think about how many years Marc Staal has under his belt at this point, and he can still make that comment. And he also probably has some idea of how the season's going to turn out in regards to the standings. So he's got all that wrapped in his head, and he's like, "Fuck, this is fun." But that picture again, I want you guys to go find that. Maybe you know what? Let me see if I can pull it up here. I apologize, but I'll keep rambling while I try and find this picture. But it to me is telling me that these guys are just done with taking this shit. And I here we go. I want this picture I'm showing you guys to help tell this story of where I'm coming from and what what the changes could mean. For an identity for this team. Yeah, I think I could just pull that up like that. It's just it's so much fun to look at this thing. The way that even Lucas just kind of looks like in the back right corner. It looks like he just wants to get involved. Like he's not really laughing as hard as Tyler Bertuzzi and Robbie Fabry, but he just wants to be involved because he knows that those two guys are just being dicks. And those are his line mates, so he wants to play along. So for me, like this is it, right? This is where we're changing that culture. And if we're going to start defining the identity or changing the identity, I'm cool with part of it being attached to Dylan Larkin saying enough is enough. And now these guys, are we really picking the fights, or is it us retaliating after some more bullshit? So I guess that's where I'm happy that this is happening. I'm happy that I actually tweeted out today, are we getting a new Bad Boys of Detroit? Like, that's probably going too far. But isn't it fun that you can tweet that out for fun? Like, isn't that cool? Like, we're at that point. We get to watch this. Now, Soap Dish, also you threw out there, you shouldn't have to do that punch either. Absolutely. It's and that's from a perspective of I don't know if you don't want the captain to do it, or if you don't like, it shouldn't be at that point because the refs should be policing the game properly. But either way, that's a fantastic point. Yeah, Fefdar, we got to go back. Time to reminisce. Joseph is lucky he doesn't play in an era with someone like Joey Kocur. That'd be the end. There wouldn't be a Joseph. He probably, with the shit he pulls, wouldn't have even made it to this game. Oh my gosh, Tristan, yes. The bag tag on Seider. Yeah, I saw, and I like that you're putting it too. It was Ekman Larson who bag tagged Seider, and that hurt for me to read that. Because I heard it earlier as just the cup shot. So the bag tag is fuck. That hurts. That hurts me to read that. I like that you put that as the welcome to the NHL moment. But yeah, that shit. So that's the kind of shit I feel like needs these three guys, like this mentality, the fuck this bullshit kind of mentality. We're gonna fight back. Like that's where this needs to come from with these three guys laughing at Vancouver and the camaraderie that's being built. Because what the fuck are we doing? Like, get off, literally, get off Seider's nuts and let him play hockey. That kind of stuff, man, that shit drives me crazy. All right. So let me keep rolling down here in the comments. Oh yeah, of course. Proby, another one, Tristan thrown out there with Joey Kocur. When your captain gets run at, no one fights. That worries me. Same thing in Dallas last year. Run's our captain. I gotcha. I'm still gonna say I think that whole game turned into like this fiery energy that I thought you could feel it from the ice. Like it just felt like those guys wanted to kick the shit out of Tampa. I just think it's two games in a row where the refs were trying to stifle any opportunity of going that could just be, it could have just been a full game of fisticuffs flying tonight, yesterday, as our top forwards keep getting taken down by some nasty hits. But I'm gonna side with the refs being at fault with that, because what I saw was, I mean, it looked like they were trying to retaliate. I mean, think about tonight. How many times did Hronek try and get a fight going with Garland, and it just was not happening. I mean, Hronek looked like he was tethered to him at some point, and the other Vancouver Canucks players were pushing him aside. Then the refs just started blocking Garland, so he couldn't get off the glass. So that's to me. I'm going to say my frustration's there, because these guys are getting so pissed and fed up with this shit that I'm going to say, and if Hronek heard this, I hope it wouldn't offend him, but I'm going to say even a guy like Philip Hronek is ready to throw down. And I think that's an accurate way to put it. But yeah, I'd say let's just hope that some messages are delivered, and by March 26th, which I thought was cool. I don't know if you guys caught this. I saw it mentioned on Twitter. March 26th is the next time Tampa is in Detroit, which would be another anniversary of Fight Night at the Joe. So we could be looking at Fight Night at the LCA. So you guys better check SeatGeek now for those tickets, because when that story starts spreading around on the paper and ESPN, and they're trying to sell these hockey games and make sure people are tuning in, that's going to be a hard ticket to get. I can guarantee it. Yeah, here's Tristan's coming in. They try to fight. I'm thinking that's where Tristan was going with the F. And fucking refs, stop it. They don't make calls, yet they expect the players to not fight after awful hits from behind. They are garbage. Yes, absolutely. Even the linesmen are shot with the lousy icings. All right, soap dish coming in. If you want to fight bad enough, you can. I know what you're saying. I just think at some point when you're fighting through the referees who are, and I don't know, I'm probably too close to the camera, but when they're doing one of these after every whistle on Garland, at some point you're going to have to punch a ref out to get to him. So I think they were preventing a fight, and I don't know if that's one of those things where they're just like, I just want to get out of here. If we do another fight, it's going to be another 10 minutes before we get the puck dropped again. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like, just come at them, during the play, and then it's not an issue. You don't have to worry about the refs getting in the way. But I'll tell you this: it was some of the hardest work I've seen from a I guess a team of officials to make sure there wasn't a fight in this game. Probably harder work than I've seen in preventing, maybe player injuries because of dirty hits. It was the hardest work I've seen by a team of officials in a very long time. I'll put it that way. Oh, Tristan, thanks for the heads up on that Tampa game. I'll be there. Yeah, there's a couple of dudes on Twitter that brought that to my attention. I think I absolutely have to go to that game. I already got to ask the wife for permission. So, all right. So we've been talking. I've been rambling for 45 minutes. Thank you so much for throwing in comments. I got to check out my notes here and make sure I'm not missing anything that I wanted to talk about. If we do too, like, we didn't really talk too much about Nedeljkovic. All I did was mention what his goals saved above expected was and how far into the negative it was. I would say for anybody that's too nervous about that, and there's a couple of folks who pretty close to the old bloodline for me that maybe have said as much. I think absolutely one game is too small of a sample size, but go back to that first period. Still looking good. I just think this was something, if you're going to compare the games of Greiss and Nedeljkovic and not do it the way I did, which was me just saying, look how amazing this number is, because here's what Nedeljkovic's numbers, and look at Vasilevsky's numbers in that first game too. He was like a minus 1.6. Vasilevsky. So again, are we going to sit there and say Vasilevsky sucks? No, we're not. So I'm just, all of this to compare Greiss with Nedeljkovic in their first two games of the season is just to say, look how amazing this Grice number is. But if you want to talk about like actual play and goaltending, I didn't really see much from Nedeljkovic besides the fact that he gives me fucking heart attack with playing the puck as much as he does, and I've just got to get used to it. It's nothing on Alex. He does a good job, and of course, we had at the end of the game where Staal, if you hadn't seen it, you can go back and watch the replay. But that Tampa game ends with Staal calling off Ned, and the puck ends up in the back of the net. It hard to watch that replay and see Ned get called off that puck. And it might be something too, where maybe Staal has a heart attack every time that he touches the puck. But you got to trust your goaltender on that stuff. I think that's your quarterback when the puck goes back there, and if he wants to play it, I think you're just asking for trouble when you call him off. Which probably what's funny is I talk very highly about Lindstrom, and I think he's dragging Staal up and down the ice. I like Staal's words. I like the way he talks about these youngsters on the team. I think he probably is a great presence in the locker room with this defensive core right now. But man, that is a guy that when you replace him, this defense is going to look so much better because of the huge minus I think he adds to this defense, if that makes sense. And replacing him with anybody will be a positive. If it's not the miscommunications on the ice, it really is just the poor decisions. I mean, when you're talking about watching Lindstrom play, and you can see the exact opposite when it comes to making the choice of when to be aggressive, and you see the veteran Marc Staal make the wrong choice, it's hard. Tristan's got it. I'd be happy if we play Staal once every 3 games. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Somebody is so what do we have? We have Oesterle would be our other left defenseman that could take over for Staal, right? Somebody could throw that correction in the comments, because I know we play Stecher on the right side, so that's our best option. You got to believe if the mistakes keep coming for Staal, they're just going to treat it as like, well, he's old, he needs a breather, so he'll be coming out for a couple of games. And, Oesterle, if he can play pretty good, then hopefully we'll go to that 1 to every 3 games. All right, so we got the Ned stuff out of the way, took a dump on Staal. We went over our top performing analytic player so far, which is Gustav Lindstrom. Nothing to sneeze at either. Lucas Raymond start. I think the eyeball test looks like he's struggling. He's had some pops. He's had some flashes. He's actually having the start I thought we would see in the preseason right now. And that just could be because of how high the competition level elevated from what he saw in the preseason to, jumping into a game with the Tampa Bay Lightning. But all that being said, Lucas Raymond still at the top of the list for expected goals for per 60. He's number 3 for expected goals for percentage. So he's bringing more to the ice than he's giving up from a 5-on-5 perspective. And he's still playing pretty good on the power plays. That's a solid forward right there. You've got him playing multiple facets of your game. He's not holding anybody up who, if somebody absolutely had to play on the power play, and Lucas wasn't, where you're just saying, well, what are we doing here? We could put somebody else that could play, penalty kill minutes or something like that. No, there's special team minutes. Obviously, first line minutes are going to be the most important thing for the Detroit Red Wings right now. So he's still playing solid first line minutes, and he's playing up against, top defensive pairings on the other team. So, to say that he's walking away with the third best, and of course, second best is Dylan Larkin, but the third best expected goals for percentage right now after 2 games, that's fantastic for a rookie. Like, and to think how young Lucas is right now, and the second fucking NHL game, guys turning in minutes like this on 5-on-5. And he just finished playing the defending Stanley Cup champions a game ago. Jesus. Oh my God, Tristan, thank you. Mitchell Stevens is a godsend. The man is so fast, so good defensively. I think he can be the Aho type player, mind you, in a much smaller capacity. Yeah, I think if I pull this up here, let's do this. You get high marks again, Tristan. I'm gonna pull up where your head's at. Again from Natural Stat Trick. Highly recommend, guys. You don't have to do any subscriptions like for Evolving Hockey, but of course I'm a big dumb, so I have Evolving Hockey too. But there you go. I'm gonna highlight Mitchell Stevens there at the top. Your expected goals against per 60 leader for the team. Of course, number 2 being Gustav Lindstrom, but number 1, Mitchell Stevens. Now, Mitchell Stevens also has a very low expected goals for per 60. But of course, what is his role on the team? He's going to be doing a lot of faceoffs from the defensive side. So he's not going out there to do your offensive zone faceoff. So he's going to be starting in a deficit. So what does this tell you? If he's starting in a deficit and is the because I'll tell you what you could look at from last season. You know who was our worst expected goals against per 60 forward? Luke Glendening. And we always made the excuse that he was starting in the defensive zone because of what his role was. There's an upgrade. Right? I mean, is that not an upgrade, Tristan? If you want to use that as ammunition when you're having arguments on Reddit about whether or not Mitchell Stevens is worth it, there you go. I mean, this is a guy that clearly, if he's starting in a deficit, and what I mean again is that he's starting in the defensive zone, you would assume that this number would be much higher. His minutes should be much higher than other guys on the team because of what his role is, and he gets the puck out of the goddamn zone. And of course, I mean, this goes for his whole line, but I mean, it's been a success. Let's just put it that way. For 2 games, it's been successful, I should say. And is this Tristan thrown out there too? He did get some 4-on-4 time with Zadina and look sharp. I mean, yeah, like this is something too. I think the opportunities will continue to come as he, let's say, does pretty well in what the role he's being asked to do. Like as long as this keeps going in this direction, like I'll point out right here, this expected goals for percentage, Mitch is not on the team to score goals for us. Now that might sound silly, but part of that goes along with what he's asked to do and what the strategy is. So he's not necessarily out there in those positions where he's going to start or have a better opportunity to score. And he will have a tougher assignment from a defensive perspective as well. So I'm not going to judge Mitchell Stevens on an expected goals for percentage too often this season, but I absolutely will continue to look at this expected goals against per 60 and continue to say that this man, his job is to stop pucks from going in the net. And what would be the number one statistic then to measure a guy on is that if there's a statistic that measures shot quality, which is our expected goals against / expected goals for, and he's got your lowest number on the team. What else could you ask for? Yeah, Mitchell Stevens, A+ all the way, especially, what was it, Tristan, 5th or 6th round that we got him for? Tristan, last night I had a nightmare. I remembered Justin Abdelkader in 2019-20. You know what? I saw, Facebook tells you what you said like 15 years ago or something. But I had one in the last 10 years where I was just so pissed that Justin Abdelkader was getting so much praise from, I think it was either Ken Daniels or Mickey Redmond. And I was like, no, pull the curtain back. It's all smoke and mirrors. It's not Justin Abdelkader. And, fast forward a few years and all the smoke dissipated, the mirrors cracked. And standing there was, a solid human being. He had a pretty nice, I think, letter in the Player Tribune when he left hockey, and that made me feel pretty bad about all the mean things I had said. But he didn't necessarily improve us too much. I'll be nice. I'll put it that way. I'll politic. How about that? Thanks, Tristan. The Mitchell Stevens was the 6th round pick. All right, so. Yeah, I think we got everybody out of the way that we needed to mention. What the fuck am I talking about? Tyler fucking Bertuzzi. God damn. guess, I mean, we need more unvaccinated players. That's all there is to it. No, I'm kidding. I'm sorry. Tyler, I mean, this is something for me that I just like those 4 goals against Tampa. I mean, this was something that in our preview for the Tampa game, we were asked about Tyler potentially slowing, or yeah, if his time away was going to slow down the Red Wings, and I said it was surely a possibility. So I'm going to steal from Darren McCarty, who was actually talking about Dylan Larkin at the time. But that 4 goals doesn't need to just mean 4 goals. What that gets to mean for us as Red Wings fans and for Jeff Blashill is that Tyler's not going to be the guy we need to worry about. I mean, those 4 goals look like Tyler Bertuzzi goals. Am I right? We came into the season and we had our points per 60 leader on the power play last season was Tyler by a mile. And, a lot of that goes into you cut your sample size lower. There's a better chance that when you have 1 or 2 points, it's going to look a lot better. Stretch that over 50 games, it looks like shit. But you put it in 9 games, looks pretty good. But anyway, to continue that conversation about Tyler, I just thought like that was one of the guys that was going to make this team look a little bit better. Now, clearly, I'd love to have Larkin and Verana back right now. And as we started the episode, we have that fun conversation of, oh my God, if those guys come back, what are we going to look like? But yeah, Tyler just looked like Tyler Bertuzzi. So again, to steal from Darren McCarty and Dylan Larkin's goal, meaning that Dylan's good to go for this year. I think Tyler Bertuzzi's 4 goals, that's a lot. Clearly, it's an understatement, if anything. But those 4 goals mean we're good to go on Tyler. Like, fucking light it up, my man. Get those games in. Keep them away from Canada, but in the U.S. and probably not New York, but the U.S. light it up, man. Good on Tyler too, because we're guilty of it. A lot of people kind of put the spotlight on him, and he definitely could have shied away. He definitely could have had a terrible game, and we could be sitting here going, part of the reason is because he's had a huge spotlight on him, and the media podcasters have kind of made him a distraction, and then we could have just gone, well, there it is. That's why he's struggling. But instead, he continued to produce tonight as well, and there's not much else to say when a guy's just playing his nuts off. But we hope he reattaches them and is ready to go for our next game, which I think we're up against Columbus next, who took down the Kraken tonight. Columbus is 2-0, so we're going to be facing the undefeated Columbus Blue Jackets. They got the overtime win from Patrick Laine. I don't know about you guys, but one of my favorite things I saw tonight was Seider pulling up he had the tablet right after he had a bad mistake on the ice for the Wings today. Makes a mistake, sits on the bench, camera catches him. They're not even looking at him. I think they're looking at Fabry or somebody, but you see Seider in the background, not even talking to anybody. He's just replaying. You see him scrolling back, keeps replaying the same video over and over. He's watching himself play. He's trying to figure out what he did wrong. And, going into the regular season, Seider brought up the Laine goal. And I just want to see, I can't wait for this game from that, the idea where Tristan and I are like, all right, we're both signed up for March 26th when Tampa comes back, and it's the anniversary of Fight Night at the Joe. Now it'll be Fight Night at LCA, right? So we're ready to go for that. I'm stoked to see Seider absolutely lock down Laine in this game. I think that is your spotlight for the entire game. I think Seider, the way that he has talked about his own game, the maturity he carries himself with, I mean, that's going to be, if you're not excited about that, I hate to be the gatekeeper for hockey, but from that perspective, again, of like, fights are exciting, goals are exciting. But if you're not excited to see how Seider has changed his game, or just how locked in he's going to be on Laine, come Tuesday. I don't know. I'm just praying that me gushing about it is going to get you juiced about it too. It's Tristan. Oh yeah, Seider is a mature man. Oh man, yeah. Like seriously, this is going to be fun to watch, and you know it's exciting because certainly it could turn the other way, right? Like this could be something that goal meant nothing to Line. He's just going to keep rolling, and I mean, if we judge him on the preseason and then what he did against Seattle tonight, Line looks like Line from a couple of years ago. So he looks dialed in so far. So he could just roll right through, skate past Seider, and when he's asked about it later, he'll go, oh, "I wasn't even aware that he was playing." You know, and I mean that, you know, he'd say that in kind of like a dickish way, but yeah, it could be something where he just completely takes away the drama out of it, and he's just playing lights out. But what I'm guessing, what I'm predicting we're going to see is the exact opposite. And Seider is going to be so beside himself with what happened in that game and how he brought it up himself in the regular season press conference. How I see him after making a mistake on that tablet on the bench. I mean, you got to think he doesn't even look angry. He's just a robot about it. And if he can see where the mistake was made, like it's almost like you trust him at that point. Like, oh my God, he's never gonna do that again. And we're, you know, after an 82 game season, he's gonna have 82 games of mistakes that he's never gonna make again. And we're gonna have another perfect human on the blue line for the wingding. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. I think if I take a look at the advanced analytics for ye old Columbus Blue Jackets, I think what I saw earlier today, who was their top? Oh yeah, Roslovich playing their best. But if you take a look at the entire team from the advanced analytics perspective, they're actually on the lower end in regards to giving up chances. So they're 2-0, but from a 5-on-5 perspective, they are getting out chanced. Like it is going in the other direction. So that might be something with, I think I don't want to say all the success, but we've seen a good deal of success for the Wingdings so far on a 5-on-5 perspective. And after two periods, you know, we've had the likes of Seider absolutely dominate. It's just things seem to start going against Seider and the Red Wings on that third period. So a couple of things to look out for then. That Seider and Line matchup, but number two, I think after two games here, we want to see that third game kind of go in the other direction when it comes to chances, when it comes to attempts. We don't want to see another 20 shot differential. I tweeted out in that first game when it was 20-20 in shots. That was me saying, oh my gosh, we caught up. And I don't think we got another shot until Tampa had taken 12 or 14 more shots. So it is one of those things. I certainly jinxed the fuck out of us. But yeah, for this next game, I want to see improvements like that. I want to see us not just get completely lunched in the third period from a chance perspective, because you're not going to get Greiss like this every game. We got Greiss like this for the second half of last season, but you know, it could get really ugly, and we could be looking at a huge goal differential again, like we did a couple of years ago, where it looked like we were going to break a fucking record before COVID ended the season. So yeah, we'll keep an eye out for that. And then another big thing too, I think, who's going to be coming off the ice first in the morning skate on Tuesday? Does Greiss get another game after this one, or do we go right back to Ned? Because I did say one of my big crazy off the wall predictions this year is that the season was going to end and Greiss was going to have 60% of the games. So I'm keeping an eye out for that as well. All right. Oh, one last thing too. I see. Oh, I thought this was Jonathan Berggren mentioned by Tristan, but yeah, go check out what the Griffins have been doing. Kicking the shit out of I think it was Rockford yesterday. I'm not sure what the final score was tonight, but I saw some tweets about Veleno scoring again, possibly 2 goals I think tonight. But Yeah, that I think we all predicted that the Griffins would be fun to watch. You've got so many NHL caliber players, whether or not they're ready to go, but a lot of NHL caliber players on that team. That's going to be fun to watch. All right, I'm at an hour. I actually told myself I'd only go for like 20 minutes. So, oh my God. Yeah. Tristan, thank you. Bergen driving to Grand Rapids, Ohio. Holy shit. Yeah. If you guys didn't hear about that, Bergen got to Grand Rapids, Ohio, and, or is it just, it's funny. I saw the story. It said GR Ohio, and then Tristan said GR Ohio. Is it actually GR Ohio, or is there Grand Rapids, Ohio? Because I want to make sure I don't get that story wrong. He gets there and he's like, what the fuck? This is just farmland. I was told that this was a huge major city in Michigan. And went to the wrong fucking state, dude. Poor Berggren. All right. Yeah, we got to go back and see what the measurement was on Hockey Smarts because, GPS, we got to teach them how to use one of those. All right. All right. Thanks, Tristan. That actually is Grand Rapids, Ohio. All right, let's sail off into the sunset. Like I said, Columbus coming up on Tuesday. We should have a guest actually for the Wednesday episode, where we'll actually recap that game against the Blue Jackets, and then we'll keep sailing on from there. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this game tonight. Certainly, Greiss did. Our expected goals against did not enjoy the game. Neither did the attempts against us. I don't know why I'm talking about that. Just giving human qualities to statistics. Thanks for tuning in. Like I said, we'll have another episode coming up on Wednesday night. All right, so we will see you guys then. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good one.